Good morning and welcome to the Morning Charge. My name is Chris Kerr and this is a production of Reyactive LLC. I just wanted to welcome you to our show. This is the episode for Tuesday, July 31st, 2012. My name is Chris Kerr and I'll be your host. And today we've got primarily news-oriented content. We've got a couple of tools, but I really want to get into the news right away. The first part is kind of very sad news from the point of view of a survey that was performed by a company called Credit Donkey. Now, Credit Donkey really is trying to make it easy to understand how credit works for people. And they've done a study recently on how Americans view credit card debt. And they asked a couple of questions, one hypothetical and one not so hypothetical, that have shown some insights into the American mind as far as how we perceive credit card debt that I think are pretty important. So first, the first question is, if you can't make ends meet, which bill would you pay first? And most people pick car loan, credit card, student loan, other. But the one that is surprising and the one that's getting a lot of attention is almost 4% of Americans would rather pay their cable bill. They'd rather pay the cable bill first. Now, I don't have anything off the top of my head as to explaining why that would take place. That's up for anyone's grabs, but that is a significant enough proportion of the population to make it worth considering. Most importantly, and where I said it's a pretty sad statistic, is this question here. Which basic necessity have you gone without because of lack of funds? Check all that apply. And the good news, I guess, is that almost half of Americans have never had to go without a basic necessity. I think that's an important positive for this country. But here are some of the negative ones. The house missed a payment or foreclosure is about 7 or 8%. Car payment missed or repossessed, that's a little over 10%. That's a little worrying, but it's, given the economy, we all have seen that happen to someone in our network. But the two that I think are very, very scary and very important are the medicine at over 30% and food at over 27%. 27% of Americans, regardless of whether they're homeless, whether they're in the unemployed, the underemployed, or self-employed and not making ends meet, whatever the case may be, 27% of Americans have gone without a basic necessity because they didn't have the money to do it, and that basic necessity was food. That's kind of a big deal. Another 30%, 31%, went without medicine. Now, presumably, the medicine was prescribed to them, which means there was some sort of a medical reason for it being prescribed in the first place. And if that's the case, that's a third of Americans that are going without basic medicine because they didn't have the money to get it. Obviously, these numbers are much different than they would be in a normal economy. But in light of the fact that they are what they are, and the economy is what it is, anyone who's telling you that the economy is rosy, everything's peaches and cream, just remember this pictogram, these statistics, when they tell you what a great economy we're in right now. And people are telling you that. We have business and political leaders who say, no, this is a great economy. When more than a quarter of Americans can't afford food, that is not a great economy. So that's enough of my rant. But this Credit Donkey report has quite a number of other statistics that are particularly important and well worth reading. And it's very informative about this state of American understanding of credit card debt and how collections and other things take place. So moving on to the next fact, or not fact in this case, tool. Many of you know I've been a proponent of a variety of sites like Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. And Fiverr basically is a website where anyone can post a job that they're willing to do for $5. And anyone then can pay them $5 to go get them to do that. Well, the way Fiverr makes its money is it takes, I guess, 10% or something of whatever the transaction is. And then the company that's handling the transaction, usually PayPal, takes their 3 or 5% or whatever they're taking. So at the end of it, you're not getting $5, you're probably getting 4 and change. But still, it's a worthwhile little process to do a lot of positives in terms of getting your name out, getting new customers, getting a lot of volume of sales, especially for digital products. There are lots of advantages to Fiverr. Deucer is a new company, and it doesn't have a limit of just being $5 for the price of whatever you're doing. You can mark your price at whatever you want it to be. But the big advantage of Deucer is that as the listing person, you can sell whatever you want for free. They don't take any percentages other than presumably the transaction fee for paying PayPal or whoever that is. Other than that, everything else, revenue-wise, is yours. So if you've ever been interested in Fiverr or any of the pages or sites like that, Deucer.com may be a very interesting place to visit and possibly sell some of your own goods or services. Next, on to social media news. The New York Times reports that a company in Long Island, a startup, had discovered, according to their own homemade analytics tool, that as many as 80% of all of the clicks on their Facebook ads were not actually by human beings. They were done by what they presume are web bots. And as a result, they've pulled all advertising from Facebook because why are you paying for 80% less advertising effectiveness than you should be? It's a particularly galling thing for Facebook because I understand Facebook had an issue with this in the past and they thought they'd gotten past it. Facebook responds that only 5 to 6% of its 1 billion users would be fake, but that really doesn't have anything to do with bots clicking on click-through ads anyway, so that doesn't really mean a lot. It's kind of tough to figure out how Facebook is going to respond to this, how accurate the claim would be. None of that information is necessarily open, but the thought that that kind of bogus click-through could be impacting advertisers is going to have another big impact on Facebook's financial future, because advertisers just don't want to hang around a site that has no control over their click-throughs, has no way of making sure that it's a human being that's seeing the ad. So again, for more information, check out the New York Times, or you can check out the company itself. The company's name is Limited Run, and they help bands and record labels sell music and merchandise. So, Limited Run, New York Times, and the author Samini Sengupta. Really interesting article today. And then finally, there's a survey, or a series of surveys and other data that a group called Sorage Marketing Research has brought to light. That's SAURAGE research.com, and you can look up their business-to-business key findings for May-June 2012. And they have a variety of different things here that are actually very useful bits of information. But I'm going to concentrate today on America's civility problem. That happens to be one of the first surveys or pieces of research that they've done. And there's a common consensus in America right now that civility has seriously dropped off. Based on the difference in numbers from 2010 to today, there's been a dramatic increase in the assessment that America is a much less civil nation than it used to be. Why I'm bringing this study to your attention is this chart here. And obviously there's some interesting things from a personal point of view, but just take a look at more than a quarter of Americans have dropped out of an online community or forum because of incivility. So you may be losing a whole pile of visitors, followers, etc., not because of anything you're doing, but because of some uncivil or incivil behavior of some of your other followers or members. And as a result, that may be impacting it. Certainly, almost 40% have stopped visiting a website that they found too many uncivilized comments on. Almost half of Americans have unfriended or blocked someone online due to incivility. 58% of Americans have taken the action to advise friends, family, and coworkers not to buy products or services from a company, and they themselves, to the tune of 69%, have decided not to buy products from a company. So basically 60 and 70% respectively have chosen not to buy products from a company and have referred other people to not buy products from a company because of incivility. So that's something that's hitting businesses' pocketbooks. There's obviously two sides to every story, and there are a number of companies that have had the experience of the uncivilized customer, and there are a number of customers who've had the experience of the uncivilized company. Both sides need to take a little time, get to know each other, and get to realize what reasonable expectations are, and I think we'll find that civility issue goes away, at least to a large degree. But most of the time that is not something that is figured out in advance. There's no real level setting, there's no real expectation setting that's a positive set. So as a result, we're seeing much higher numbers when anything goes awry. And obviously in this economy, a lot of things are going awry. So if you're looking to save some sales, if you're looking to generate new sales, you might want to curb the access of some of your more outspoken either employees or customers, because that's where a lot of your sales leakage realistically is. Regardless of how nice you may be, your company may not be having that experience rub off on your customers. So that's the news and the tools or insights for the morning charge today. Our news again continues with new reactive, I guess you'd call them articles, on social media today. Our article on social media trends in 2012 is still doing very well on the site. I think we're in 5th place as of the recording of the show. So, and that's based on 5th place since Saturday. So we're doing pretty well on that. And we have a new one out last night, this morning, in terms of some information about how a number of online retailers are getting ready for Cyber Monday already. I mean, this is July, August 1st coming up tomorrow, and Cyber Monday already has a lot of serious retailers and e-tailers making major changes to their social media and their business strategies and their online strategies and infrastructure to be able to accommodate what's going to be the biggest single Cyber Monday in history so far. They're expecting it to reach 1.5 billion in sales that day. So that's to be looked forward to from Reyactive. Go look that up when you get a chance. We appreciate it. In the meantime, my name is Chris Kerr, and this has been The Morning Charge. Please join us again tomorrow.